Thank you for watching, and today I'm going to talk about how can there be a loving God with so much injustice and suffering in the world. So one of the real difficulties I'm having at the moment is with the injustice in the killing of George Floyd, and really it's kind of just tapped into maybe a deeper sense of the injustice in the world around us at the moment that's always there, but I don't always notice. And I'm thinking of climate change, global poverty, inequality, injustice, the oppression of women, genocides that take place, human trafficking, drug trafficking that wrecks the lives of billions of people. Yet the list is endless. And it really makes me ask, why is God allowing all this to carry on? I suppose there's only two choices for God. You allow it to carry on, or you end it. And obviously it's not in God's plan to end it. It's his choice, his time and his way, it's his world. So how do I as a Christian come to rationalize and understand what God's plan is and what is my role in God's plan? So when God created the world, and I say all this as a Christian, obviously, I say all this as a Christian from my perspective. So this is coming from the heart of someone who believes in Jesus, who believes in the God of the Old Testament. So I understand, and Christians around the world understand, that God created the world as a good place. He created our first parents, Adam and Eve, placed them in the Garden of Eden, gave them a command. They could do whatever they liked, except for eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They decided to eat of the fruit, and by doing so, they brought both sin and death into the world. Now, God had not created a world with sin and death in it, because he created a good world. We introduced the bad bits into God's creation, because God gave us the free choice to do that. And God's greatest gift to us is free will. That as his children who he's created in his image and likeness, he wants us to have total freedom. That is the most profound gift he's given us, even at the sacrifice of his world being totally imperfect, because we've made it imperfect, we trashed it. Yet in his love for us, he allows us to continue in this world in this way. So I recognize that he sent his son Jesus to repair the damage. Jesus came for three reasons. Jesus came to pay the price of our sin by his death on the cross. By his resurrection, he came to open the way to heaven and give us the promise of eternal life, to be with God for eternity. A God who loves us to bits, loves us to the core of our being. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And Jesus came to show us how to live, to show us how to bring God's love and his peace to our world. And he's given us the free choice to do that. So whereas we have free choice to do bad, or we have free choice to do good. That is how God has created this world. And he sees it as good for this world to continue in its existence. He loves us to the depths of our being, and he wants us to make a difference in our world by being his children, by showing the love that Jesus came to show us, by showing that self-sacrifice. And that is not to live a life of sin, which brings death into our world. It is to live a life of love, of selfless love of our neighbor, selfless love of those around us, to bring God's kindness, his peace, his love, his joy to our world. That is why Jesus came, to show us how we're called to live, the glory of being children of God. Now, God has given, I believe, people like me as a Christian, a mandate to proclaim his love, to proclaim his way of living to the world around me. That's what God has done. That's what Jesus has come to show me. I have a choice to make. I can either live like that and campaign for a better world, a more just world, or I can keep my mouth shut and get on with polishing the brass in church or keeping the pews clean or whatever. I have a choice to make. I can live a radical contribution to our world, seeking justice and equality, or I can keep my faith to myself and say, well, my faith's about looking like I'm doing the right thing, keeping myself in my box. Of course, that's not what I believe. So he gives us, as his followers, as his children, a choice to make. And every human being has a choice. We can either do things which promote the world God has created us to live in, justice, fairness, equality, kindness, love, or we can choose to be sinful, to be greedy, to be part of the structural sin that engulfs our planet at the moment. And that's why God allows it to carry on, because he wants us, I believe he wants people like me, people who profess to be Christian, to show his love in our world. He's given us the responsibility to do that. And I don't know why he allows all of this to carry on, because if you think about it for too long, it would break your heart and break your mind and make you really angry. But I know his plan is bigger than me, and I don't understand his whole plan, but I know I have a role to play in his plan in this moment today in our world. And he invites you to the same role, to campaign for an end to inequality, an end to injustice, to campaign for rights of all people, to make our world a fairer, more loving and better place.